And welcome back to the final segment of our show this morning. And I promise this is arguably as interesting as the first two segments. We're going to be talking about birds. We're joined this morning by members of the Belize Raptor Center. We have with us in studio this morning the director, Sarah Mann.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And volunteer trainer, Aaron Smolley. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning.
And another guest with us is...
This is Skyler. Skyler is our adorable plumbeous kite. So this is actually a bird you can find right here in Belize. They have a very long distance migration from South America all the way over up north here to Belize, where they breed.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, so they nest here.
Okay.
And that's actually how we got him, if I can tell you the story now.
Well, I wanted to just rewind for a second because when people hear raptor, they don't necessarily know what class of birds we're talking about. Can you tell us a little bit more about a kite and other types of birds that would be considered raptors that are in Belize?
So we have 59 different species of raptors. Raptors are birds of prey. So birds with sharp talons, sharp beaks, meat eaters. They are our pest control. So raptor is something that's going to clean up the world for us. And also vultures too, they're our cleanup crew.
So what would Skyler be looking to eat when he's out and about?
So mostly insects,
Okay.
but lots of small prey. But insects are their primary part of their diet.
So no one
sure.
in here is really in danger, right?
Danger of cuteness overload,
Oh,
maybe.
danger of cuteness.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the history of Skyler,
Yeah.
as we're about to mention.
So Skyler, actually, very interesting story. It's actually an important story to share. They nest here in Belize, like I said, and Skyler was poached, taken from the nest as a baby, because somebody thought he would be a very good pet. Boy, were they wrong. So
You don't want a meat eater, I don't
exactly.
think.
No.
Definitely not.
Smell.
So what happened was Skyler actually became a human imprint. So
What does that mean?
What that means, and can you guys keep a secret?
Yes, yeah.
He doesn't know he's a bird.
Oh, okay.
So Skyler thinks he's a person. So it's kind of a shame because he is fully flighted. He's in perfect physical condition, perfect physical health.
But
However,
you're saying if he went back into the wild, he wouldn't survive?
No,
Okay.
he doesn't. He never learned how to hunt from his parents.
Yeah.
He was raised by people, so he has, he just thinks he's a person, so he wouldn't survive out there, which is unfortunate. But fortunately, though, he is fully flighted, and because of his great personality and demeanor, we are able to train him, which is what we're working on right now. And he's already done a few flights for different programs, so we actually fly him over kids' heads, and that really gives them that goosebumps, exciting moment to help them appreciate birds more.
That's really...
I find that it wouldn't only be with birds that you have where people take on wild animals as pets, and in a sense they domesticate them. And if they were to be released back into the wild, they wouldn't be able to survive on their own because they have been domesticated, and the personality, as you've mentioned, they're more human, or they have that human imprint as opposed to being able to survive on their own with their instincts.
Yeah, there's imprint and habituation. So imprint is where mentally they view you as an equal. So in the wild, Skyler would never find his own kind. He would never migrate on time, and he would come to people for food. So he would either be shooed away, shot at for, coming. I mean, he's cute, he's small, but if you had, say, a harpy eagle as an imprint, it's a whole different story.
Right. Yeah.
So a habituated bird means that they know that you're feeding them, but they also know that they're a bird. So they have been parent reared. So a raptor is fully grown within 8 weeks, and it's ready to start hunting on its own. So in that time period, it's critical that you know what you're doing if you find an injured or a small orphaned bird of prey.
So if you were, you would contact the Raptor Center, and you're in San Ignacio?
We are.
What are the facilities like? Take us there. I know we're seeing some pictures, but take us to your facility and kind of what you do there, and what if someone comes there, what do they see?
So right now we assist with rescue and rehabilitation of birds of prey. There are other centers too that do rehab that we work along with. Say, for example, you found Skyler as a baby and you contacted us. We have protocols in place for raising baby raptors, right, and teaching them how to hunt, live hunt. We do have a flight enclosure. We have limited activities for birds that have had broken wings. that have had pinnings and need to do small amounts of exercise before they can go into a big flight enclosure. We can do crayons training, lure training, which is conditioning a bird outside of an enclosure and getting it ready for a wild release. So our primary goal is to put every bird that we get back in the wild, but raptors have to be intact. Their feet have to be intact because they use them for hunting, their wings for maneuvering. You get a collared forest falcon, like we'll show you in our taxidermy, that bird can go through big. It has to know maneuvering. Yeah. So its wings have to be perfect. Eyesight's critical. This guy can see a grasshopper about a mile away. Wow. His eyesight is 8 times greater than humans. I mean, this guy's so important because he eats about 30, 40 grasshoppers a day. So we want to get them back out there.
And how do you know when a bird is ready or not ready to go out? Do you have a battery of tests, or what is it you do?
It's a very fine line. If you keep a bird past when it's ready, it can start beating itself up in an enclosure. You just have to know. It takes training, time, patience with them too. It depends on the injury as well. We can get a closed break that birds' bones heal within 2 weeks. Okay. They're extremely amazing at healing.
No, I don't want to purposely let the cat out of the bag here.
Oh, yeah.
But I noticed that in the taxidermy section,
I know, right?
we have an owl.
Yep.
How do owls as raptors fit into the project that you guys have undertaken?
So there is a lot of folklore and myths with owls. Such la chusa. I mean, there's definitely, we're not seeing it so much in the smaller kids. It's more our age group and the older generations that view them as messengers of death. So we do get a lot of problems with barn owls. And the problem with barn owls too, the one that we're going to see in a little bit, they tend to nest in roof spaces, right? They're opportunists. They are going to go where the prey is. They eat about 3 to 5 rats a night. So if we have trash outside, the rats are there, the barn owls are there. But owls are one of the best pest controls we can have. Our special guest we'll see in a little bit. She eats skunks and possums.
Wow.
Possums carry diseases. So we definitely promote keeping these guys healthy to protect us.
So are you finding cases where older generations of people don't want owls around because of the superstition?
Yeah.
And how can you, I know you do a lot of talking to kids. Do you hope the kids will take the message home and say, we need that owl?
Yes. So I had a really awesome story. We did a Talk and Orange walk. 6 months later, a parent called me, and they had 3 barn owls that the child had begged the neighbor not to kill. He was trying to take them out of the roof space, and he was, his dad was so impressed that his son was willing to go over there and fight for these 3 owls. And we actually ended up releasing them back in Orange Walk. This little boy was there to help release them. Wow. But nice. I mean, it does go home. See, we can teach the kids, but kids are the best teachers for the parents. I mean, they're the ones that will change the minds of their parents. So,
I have a question about where in Belize people can see birds. I know we get a lot of foreigners, for example, who come to Crooked Tree in different areas because of birds. But if you wanted to take your kid, if your child is somewhat interested, where are some areas that people would see birds either that are migrating through or that live here all the time?
Oh, that's a...
Well, one of the best parts about birds is that they're everywhere.
Yeah.
As opposed to, if you really love mammals and you want to see a mammal in the wild.
Right, that's right.
Very difficult. Many of them only come out at night or they skulk around in the bush. However, with birds, they're in the sky, they're in the trees, they're in the ground, they're in the water. There's literally no place that you can't see birds. That's a better question, is where can you go to get away from birds? Right.
So, be particular about a species of bird.
Yeah, well, I mean, so, there's a website, ebird.org, where you can get really specific and find where the most recent sightings have been. The Belize Audubon Society would be able to, they even do bird walks and stuff.
That's right.
So you can do that. We're out, even on the drive here, we're looking at birds. I mean, in my opinion, the best.
That we don't see.
Exactly. The best part about being able to see birds in the wild is that it's absolutely free. All you have to pay is attention. So you just keep your eyes out.
Maybe a pair of binoculars.
Yeah, and that's the best part about educating people about birds is because that's the easiest way to connect with nature. And then it helps you appreciate everything else.
So you're very passionate about your avian friends. How did you become involved in this project? When did you realize that you were a bird lover?
Oh man, that's a long time ago. Ever since I was a kid, I've kind of just loved birds. I just remembered, canoe trips with my family and seeing birds in the wild. I wasn't sure I was going to be working with birds until shortly after college. However, once you go bird, you don't go back. I mean, you just start to really, it just grows on you and grows on you. And ever since I started working with birds, my life has become much more enriching, and I recommend it for everyone. I mean, pay attention to what you see out there.
What do you have with you there on that one? Who is that?
That is Zion.
Zion.
So Zion actually came from Southside Belize City. He was poached out of a nest and put up for
what
sale.
kind of bird is Zion?
He's a common black hawk.
Oh wow, okay.
So we're permitted through the Forest Department. The Forest Department gives us all our permits. We cannot transfer a bird to education without a permit.
Okay.
So even our taxidermy have permits. But he is actually, when we got him, he was scared of everything. He was scared of his own shadow. So it's taken us a long time to get him where he's at. He's another imprint like Skyler.
Okay.
But he will be our next avian champion to go out to schools.
He's very cute.
Yeah, he's doing great with his training as well.
Yeah.
So the colors you see on him in those pictures, he's still young. As he gets older, he'll turn black.
Wow. Okay.
And they're coastal, so they're common blackhawks. Definitely not a good name for them. They're found mangrove areas.
Oh, okay.
Brackish waters.
I was wondering how a hawk would end up on the south side of Belize City, but
Yep. So
I guess if you're talking coastal, then that makes sense. We're actually going to go over to the taxidermy area,
Okay, and
we're
then I'll
also
get our
gonna-
next guest out.
We're going to visit with Luna. I
right.
love your names. How do you get your names?
So Skyler was actually named by a child. So her name was Skyler, and she named Skyler.
Oh, that's
And then
well,
Luna
that's
is the
wonderful.
moon.
Yeah.
And Zion, right? You got Zion. who was just missed.
Zion National Park, and
Wonderful. I know that recently, I think it was the Benque Viejo House of Culture, or maybe San Ignacio House of Culture, they had a big taxidermy exhibit, and kids love taxidermy. Why do you think there's a fascination with looking at birds in this form?
Well, one of the main things is how often does someone get to touch a bird? You can't get anywhere near a bird. If you want to walk up to a bird, it'll fly away. So with a taxidermy, you get to see the details up close. I mean, from a distance, this bird might look like it's just brownish, but then you see them up close, you see the really intricate details of them. And we don't let the kids touch the taxidermy, but we do have the taxidermy wings.
Wings that they can touch.
And you can touch it too. You can feel how soft they are. This one over here is from a barn owl, just like this. This one's from a heron, but very similar to a daytime raptor.
Yeah.
And we do let the kids feel the difference. The owl feathers are a lot softer as opposed to the harder ones.
Oh my gosh,
So-
there's Luna. Come on in, Luna.
So-
So beautiful. Wow.
Yes.
I can't say I've ever been up close with an
It's
owl.
that very distinct sound that owls make.
That's right. It's interesting because a lot of people give human qualities to owls. And I always wonder if it's because they sort of sit upright and they have this sort of face. So you have the wise old owl.
Yeah.
You have the scary owl.
and the beautiful forward-facing eyes.
Your forward-facing eyes.
And
That's right.
some of her calls.
Skyler.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And how old is Skyler? I mean, Luna.
So we guess around 20 years old.
Interesting.
How long do
Pretty
owls
old
live?
bird.
So this is our biggest owl in Belize, the spectacled owl. They can live up to 35 years in the wilds.
Okay.
So the oldest living owl too. The barn owl, for example, lives 2 to 3 years in the wilds, but they produce a lot. So they can have 8 young or 5 to 10 young a year, when this guy has 1 or 2 every 3 years.
Wow.
Okay.
So how do birds need to be kept separate species, or like does Skyler and Luna, keep to kind of give them their space?
Because he doesn't actually, the imprints,
He doesn't think he's a bird.
No, so he can be around Luna and he has no fear of it. That's another reason he couldn't be released. He doesn't fear other birds and stuff. He should. Luna doesn't mind so much. She's actually the top dog of the night world. Nothing else hurts her. The only natural predator she has is humans.
Okay.
Right.
We're the only ones that hurt them.
So
So she would be the apex
Oh yeah,
in that scenario.
in the night world.
She's the alpha female.
Yeah. Oh, she definitely is.
So can I touch her or
No,
I
so-
can't. Okay.
Yeah,
It feels,
her-
I can
feels
touch
kind of
these.
just like
Yes. Yeah, because she hunts possums, her beak is
Super
really,
strong.
really powerful.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's get some more.
She
Luna.
can actually crush a possum's skull.
Oh my
Whoa.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
she can crush my hand.
Yeah, because she's a wild bird
Yeah.
too. Yeah. She works in captivity because she knows that she's habituated. So she
Okay.
knows
But
we
she's
feed
not
her,
imprinted.
but she'd rather be in the wild.
She'd rather. Okay.
So that's the difference between these
see.
two. This guy's terrified of the wilds. and this one wants to be there.
I see.
But she actually came in she got stuck in a barbed wire fence,
Oh my
and
goodness.
she went into the bird rescue, and
Yeah.
I was the rehabber there at the time, and we rehabilitated her, and there's a hole in her wing, so she couldn't be released, so we transferred her over to our,
Now you guys are based in San Ignacio.
yes.
How do you deal with the population of raptors within that community and the wider Cayo district?
So with talking to people about them, or?
Talking to people, dealing with the birds if there is a report coming in that there's a bird trapped somewhere, stuck somewhere, there's an overpopulation of a specific type of owl, for instance. How are these issues addressed within that location?
So if we get a call, say most of the time it comes within the Cayo district. A lot of the times, like Orange Walk, we've had some in Corozal as well, Belize City. But we got a call the other night at 9:30 p.m. Sorry, and it was a gray hawk with a broken wing, and you respond right away. We don't know how long this bird's been down, so we try to make it.
So you must have some kind of response kit or
Yep.
like
We have a first aid kit in the
first
car.
aid kit, okay.
Yep, in the car, ready to go. Yeah. But then the birds in the area, we talk to the kids. So where our base is, we have a really good support in that area. The Arms of Love School. And so we do a lot of work there as well. We had a little girl actually call us after a talk the other day. And she said, "Miss Sarah, thanks for coming to our class. Will you please say goodnight to Luna and Skyler for me?" So that was,
That's really sweet.
So it works. I mean,
Yeah.
these kids
Right.
are connecting to these birds, and
Yeah.
they go out in the wild now and they see a bird and they're going to look at it differently.
That's right.
Do you gather specific data on these birds in terms of their movement, their migration, in terms of the population sizes and where they can be found as opposed to other areas where they would not necessarily be seen so readily?
So there's a Raptor Research Institute who does mostly the nest watches, the hawk migration watch. We work with the Peregrine Fund. So there's the second rarest falcon in the world is found here in Belize, and we actually have a pretty good population. Everywhere else, Guatemala only has a couple pairs.
And what's that called?
It's the orange-breasted falcon.
Orange-breasted falcon.
And so this year we're actually taking on a major role in that program and that research. And we actually are right now interviewing people from university to start getting some attendance and survey crews on board.
Fascinating.
But if we don't do something about them now, they're going to be gone in 2030.
Can we
So-
turn our attention to the,
Yeah, absolutely.
taxidermy? Tell us what we're seeing with the two birds first.
So barn owl, we have our barn owl here.
And the barn owl is a mouse
So
predator.
so these are mostly going to eat the rats, the mice.
Okay.
They can eat up to, like I said, 3 to 5 a night, depending on the size of the prey. And then this guy right here is our collared forest falcon. So these guys are usually heard but not seen. They're very special if you do get to see one. They have a really loud noise. But these guys eat small mammals, rodents, but they do eat snakes.
Okay.
Right? So
And we see a claw here. What are you trying to show us with that
So
example?
with the taxidermy, what we do is we allow the kids to feel the difference between diurnal and nocturnal.
Okay.
Right? So a majority of the time, diurnal birds, I mean, they're seen, so they are noisy, right? They're bigger. The nocturnal birds are quiet. An owl can pass right over your head and you'll never hear it,
Yeah.
right? Unless it screams.
And so the feathers are softer.
Yeah, so they're difference in feathers. So because we bring out diurnal birds and then we bring out the nocturnal, the owl. And then with the talons, we try to teach the kids. I mean, if you're hunting a snake or a rat, they're going to fight back. It doesn't want to be
Feel it if you
food.
want. Just be careful.
They're sharp.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, so we let the kids feel the talons, and then also, when we bring out a bird, we have special equipment too.
Yeah.
So it shows. I mean, and kids are the ones that are out every day. They're the ones that are going to find the injured birds, and they're usually the ones we don't want them picking them up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to call us, and then we'll come and assist. Doing it. Because when an animal's scared, its instinct is to react.
Defensive.
right.
Yeah.
That's
So.
right. Really interesting. Is there anything that we're seeing that you want to point out that we haven't talked about yet? Because there's so much here.
I know.
It's from the
Takes so
color
much.
to the texture. What would you like Belizean grown-ups to know about birds and what we can do as a country to protect raptors?
So a lot of the times, what we see too is human persecution.
Yeah.
Right. So raptors do get themselves in trouble. they're opportunists. Sometimes they go after prey that they shouldn't, right? We don't want to highlight that because it's few and far between. They may take, for example, once in a while chicken, a juvenile trying to find its own territory because we've moved into that territory and they're trying to establish a spot. But a majority of the time, these guys are out there eating the snakes. I mean, we have a specialty bird, the laughing falcon, who eats the tommygoffs.
Whoa.
Venomous snakes are its favorite food. So if you shoot a laughing falcon, you're increasing the population of snakes in the area. So in actual, snakes are dangerous to us. And I mean, these guys too, they kill the rodents that carry diseases that we can get and our children can get.
It's amazing when you look at it in that context in terms of the balance of the ecosystem. You look at certain rodents, you look at certain snakes that may be considered pests, especially if you're living in a rural area.
Yes.
And then you have these birds that sort of balance those numbers by feeding off of them.
It's a circle of life.
It is.
Right.
Everybody
Right?
wins.
And
He
Luna
concurs.
agrees.
Luna's like,
Exactly.
I agree, guys.
Yeah.
I think that we're bonded right here.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe you're more of a
A Skyler person.
That's right, a kite guy. So we're going to have to wrap this
Okay.
up, but wow, what a great way
I say
to yes, quickly go ahead.
So real quick, we do free presentations to schools.
Can you come to other parts of the country?
We can.
Okay.
We are actually going to be in Belize City next week and then a couple weeks in Orange Walk. So we
Okay.
do go all over. It may take us a little while to get there, but we do. If you give us a call or...
And you're on Facebook.
We are on Facebook. Facebook's a really easy way to
The
reach
Belize
us.
Raptor Center.
Yep. And then also if you're in Cairo and you are there on a Saturday, we do story time at the library every Saturday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, from 11 to 12.
Drop in.
Maybe I'll do that.
I know, it's fun activities.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
Yes.
coming. The Belize Raptor Center, our special guests, Luna and Skyler. Just great guests to have. They're welcome back anytime.
Next time
And
we'll
so are
bring
you.
others.
Oh,
Thank
thank you.
We'll be back after a break on Open Your Eyes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.